Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm saying, how are you? As if everybody answered all at the same time, we'd be like, wow. Okay, but welcome to this afternoon's Family Health Show, the True Temperance International Family Health Show. We have another great presentation for you today. You will not be disappointed. If you've seen the poster, you know what the topic is. If you haven't seen the poster, you're trusting that it's going to be another good one and you won't be disappointed. So your host today, myself, Sharon Wallace, and the co-host is
Jonathan Curlew.
Thank you, Jonathan. And you are special guests, every single one of you, and we're so happy to have you join the TTI family today. If it's your first time, the format that we have is we have the first perhaps maybe 15 to 20 minutes with testimonies, people saying how they got on with the challenge from last week, and then we will go into our disclaimer, and then we have our main presentation for about 45 minutes or so, and then we have questions and answers, and then you can unmute and tell us who you are, where you've joined us from, and then we'll say goodbye to our YouTube people, viewers. So hi YouTubers, nice to have you with us today. And I've done a lot of talking, so Jonathan, can you tell people, if it's their first time, a little bit more about what we do on True Temperance International? It's in the different platforms that we have, Telegram and the weekly programs.
So at True Temperance International, we've been going from last year, April, I think, Sharon. We aim to support any and everyone really with their health, along their health journey. And so we are using the 8 laws of health, which is New Start, and we are supporting each other by putting them into practice. So we do exercise, we try to eat moderately of that which is good. We encourage people to go for exercise, and for those who are having health challenges, we see how best we can help to support you along your health journey, and that's what we've been doing and encouraging people to do.
Thank you, Jonathan. So as we try to encourage people throughout the week with the challenges that we set, we do have Telegram groups. So we have a men's wellness Telegram group, a women's wellness Telegram group, and a spiritual health Telegram group. We do have some WhatsApp groups that we're trying to minimize so that we can merge everybody or migrate everybody onto Telegram, but we are conscious that not everybody has Telegram, the app, on their phones, which they would have to install. And we will have our admin team put the links to the different groups in the chat. So watch out in the chat, there will be messages coming up there. We are live on YouTube. So if you know anybody that you'd love to see these presentations that you thought, oh, I should have shared it with so-and-so, don't worry, they are being recorded. And so you can always go back and share the presentations with friends, family, neighbors, people who might not be your friends, but you think, hey, they're going to be blessed by the presentations. So we have all this available, and we do support each other with encouragement during the week. So the challenge that was set last week's presentation was True Temperance Part 2. And Lewis set us a challenge. It was in 2 parts. So I'll remind you what the challenge is, and let's see if people would like to unmute and let us know how they got on with the challenge. Okay, so part 1 was to join True Temperance International on a Tuesday at 7 p.m. with our Bible studies. And these have been really good. We've been looking, this is for, it doesn't matter what denomination you are in, this is just, it's a Bible study so we can learn together. And the topic we've been looking at so far, or at least since last week, is the sanctuary, and it has been amazing. Okay, we had a fantastic study this Tuesday. So that was part 1 of the challenge, to join us at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday on our Bible studies, and I'll sure that the admin will put links in the chat. If not, if you come onto the Telegram group, you will see the links posted there as well. We have the poster. Part 2, now, that was to do with the topic, which was true temperance. And it was acknowledge your intemperance at the start of the day and actively address them. Okay, so we all struggle in different areas with the New Start. Nutrition, what does it stand for? Nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine, temperance, air, rest, and trust in God. And it's great when you've found the balance and you've got all of those things in optimal condition. But there's something that somebody struggles with. And so we'll find that there possibly is something that we're intemperate with. As Jonathan said, it's moderation of what is good and abstinence of what is not good for you. So then we need to address them at the start of each day and see how we get on. So how did you get on? Is there anybody that would like to unmute and share with us how they managed to get on with either part 1 or part 2 of the challenge set last week?
Not forgetting, Sharon, the previous week's challenge as well, that Lucille set, because we had some fantastic testimonial last week. And just in case someone is on who didn't get the opportunity to speak last week, maybe they want to share with us as well, or they start the challenge a bit later, you know, so they've seen result in the week. They could share with us as well.
And if you weren't sure, the previous week's challenge was to do with buy a blood pressure monitor if you haven't got one and use it, assess your blood pressure. If your blood pressure is high, there was a blood pressure tonic that Lucille shared with us, and we could take that and see how it affected your blood pressure. So those of you who are just coming on, welcome again. If you've missed a little bit, you can always, after the show, go back and watch it live, the recording on YouTube. So is there anybody that would like to raise a hand, or if you physically do it, I won't be able to see because I'm on the phone, but you can use the emojis or just unmute and let us know how you got on with the challenge. Don't rush at once. I know we had some people join us on the Bible study for the first time.
What place they have on it? The health place.
Sorry, somebody's unmuted. Are you sharing with us how you got on with the challenge? Or any of the previous challenges? Jonathan. Okay, there's quietness in the camp. Did you do any of the challenges? Oh, what's the name of the tonic, please? And where do you get it from? Okay, let's go back a bit. Let's retrack a couple of weeks. 2 weeks ago, Lucille Fifield gave a presentation on hypertension. And the tonic that she suggested that we could take is a beetroot, tomato, and celery. You would juice that in your juicer, and then to that you would add 3 cloves of garlic in a blender. So then you would blend the garlic and add the juice to it. Now, I know I struggled with blending my garlic because it wouldn't blend down properly. I haven't got the world's best blender. So what I did was I added water to my garlic and blended that up, and then added it to my beetroot, celery, and tomato juice, and then drank that. So it was to take a glass of that every day and see if that brought your blood pressure down. And we had a fantastic testimony last week from Daniel McQueen, who shared with us how wonderful that made him, the results that he was getting with the tonic. And it wasn't just about that, it was also drinking your water, sufficient water, and to see how that affected your blood pressure. But Jonathan, don't think you're getting out that lightly. Okay, so last week's challenge was to join True Temperance International on a Tuesday evening, that's British time, at 7 p.m. for the Bible study. Did you join us?
You know the answer to that, Sharon.
Okay, all right then, Jonathan. Are you going to join us next week?
I was there, so you knew the answer to
there you
it.
go
So,
then.
well, but
I didn't
anyway,
hear you speak.
the previous challenge, challenge with Lucille, Jasmine been taking my blood pressure in the mornings, and
Jasmine's your daughter.
Yes, and I can
I
report
know.
that my blood pressure is normal. So, thanks be to God.
Okay, so you didn't need to take the tonic. Well, obviously,
I think it's still good to take it because it helped to support, isn't it?
Yes, and obviously, if you have low blood pressure and you're on blood pressure tablets, you need to exercise caution, because if it takes your blood pressure too low, then you could get yourself into trouble. So you have to exercise caution when you're doing these, having these remedies. Bear in mind what effect it could have.
Yes,
because they work.
It certainly does. Daniel testified quite a lot to that last week, so
Definitely.
yeah, it does. I'm surprised nobody would like to unmute,
So what about acknowledging your intemperance at the start of each day and actively addressing them? Nobody did that?
Or can we assume, Sharon, that most people on this evening is new?
Or nobody's intemperate? Okay, right then. So well, listen, even though if you've not attempted the challenge, don't worry, because hey, we've still got the rest of our lives, and these challenges are good for they're not just good for the topic that we're discussing that week. It's a lifestyle change or a lifestyle improvement that we're encouraging. So if you haven't done it last week or this week, this is the end of the week, then there's next week. You can build that into your plan for the week ahead. Okay, so recognize or acknowledge where you're intemperate at the start of each day and actively try to address them. Okay, before we go into our disclaimer, is there anybody that would like to unmute and tell us about any of the other challenges that they... Somebody muted me. Have I been talking too much?
No, I don't think so, Sharon, no.
Okay, I'll tell you some of the other challenges. We've had challenges every week since last 52 weeks ago almost. So we've got plenty. We've had the water challenge, which was to drink enough for your weight. And that was also having the cold contrast showers, cold and hot showers. We've had being kind to people. Jonathan, can you bounce some more challenges off me? So sharing, hospitality.
Go for a walk, breathing in fresh air. I think that was set by Edgar.
Yeah.
What else?
Go to bed early on time.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, because next week the topic is, we dealt with insomnia about a month ago, but it was such a lively discussion. Next week we should be having part 2. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Albeit a different name. This will go into the science of it next week. So it will be the science of sleeping. So, right. But it's same thing, dealing with insomnia, but just going more into the science behind sleeping.
Yeah. Someone's put in the chat, the lemon challenge. That was a challenge. That was a 2-week challenge, wasn't it? No sugar. Someone keeps muting me as they're letting in more people to juice the lemons and do a 14-day, or actually I think it was a 13-day lemon challenge. It was a pyramid to have 1 lemon, day 1, 2 lemons day 2, 3 lemons day 3, up to 7 lemons, and then you come down 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 until you're back down to 1 lemon and drink the juice of that. There's been lots of challenges, but I think it's now time that we need to go back over to our disclaimer. And I'm asking if the
just
admin
before we
can
go
put
there,
the
Sharon,
link.
someone is just asking whether or not we would be able to post the recipe for the tonic, as this is their first time. But
Okay.
they can go onto the YouTube, isn't it?
Lucille has put it there on the chat. So could you just read it out for those that are on YouTube? But yes, you can always go back 2 weeks ago, type in True Temperance International. When you go onto YouTube, in the search bar, just type in True Temperance International, and you will see that we have all the different shows. And 2 weeks ago, it was the one on hypertension. So you can play back that one and hear the full presentation as well as the challenge. But Lucille has put in the chat. So for those on YouTube who cannot see the chat, sorry, Jonathan, can you read that? Because I'm on my phone.
The ingredients is juice, celery, beetroot, tomato, blend with 3 clove of garlic.
Okay.
Or pegs.
All right then, so we're just going to go through the disclaimer for today. We'll just make it big so that you can see on your screen. Okay, and someone says, and knock it back. That's right, Lucille, knock it back. Okay, Edgar, can you just bring it a bit closer because I can't see on the screen. Thank you. So the disclaimer said, it's gone now. There we go. Only a physician can diagnose, treat, and prescribe for illness or disease. Any information that we disclose or discuss on this TTI Zoom talk show, it's for educational and for information only. Please continue to seek professional medical advice from your general practitioner regarding any illness or disease that you may be suffering from. Thank you. So our presentation today is on the topic living with asthma. Now, some of you might not have asthma, but you know somebody who has it. Some of you may have, maybe you grew out of it. You had it as a child. It was a condition that you suffered with, and you've improved. Thank God for that. But there's many, many people that have it, and they want to know what can they do to improve their condition. So Pastor Sam is going to share with us a presentation on this topic. So listen attentively, get your pen and paper nearby. If you have a device that you can do screenshots, be prepared, but don't forget, this is recorded on YouTube. So if you need to go back, you can always go back and look at the slides again. So thank you for joining us. Sit back, and Pastor Sam, over to you. I'll mute now.
Thank you, pleasure to be here with you. First of all, let me apologize, guys, because I'm in my coat and, you know, I'm in sunny Spain and it's cold here. I was downstairs and in the coziness of my room and lost the internet. So I had to come upstairs, relocate, and where I am here, it's not so warm. So do forgive me for wearing my coat. So as I said, we are here in southern Spain, and I'm speaking to you from our farm, Unocenta. Delighted that I can share this platform with you. And I'm just gonna give you an overview of the place where I am very quickly. This is our farm, and there is a lot of work here to be done. We have lots of oranges. So at the moment, lots of our oranges and tangerines for you to enjoy. And we're also in the process of just fixing up the place. Here's a volunteer in one of the orange fields, and there is a sanctuary above us, a Catholic, well, not a cathedral, but a big edifice, I don't know what you call it, sanctuary. And this is the view from up there. It's just absolutely amazing. It's about a 20-minute drive up the hill from where we are. And then the Lord has blessed us with a wonderful builder. So we're just in the throes of fixing up upstairs so that we can move up. And we hope that that will be done by the end of April, May this year, so that we can really do what we came here to do. So this is the work that we're doing, and this is the area that I'm speaking to you from now, so you can see why it's cold, right? and it's not a really warm day today. So yeah, we thank God for the builders. And then let me just say about oil. The oil is in the UK. Should you need some veganically grown oil, no chemicals, no artificial products, holistic, natural, cold pressed, full of the Mediterranean sun. Now let me just say it is there in the UK, and we had planned to decant this into 5-litre containers, but we were not able to do so because of the lockdown. And so it's still in the 25-litre bottles. But if you are making your own good quality carrier oil, or you're baking bread, I had somebody get in touch with me just this week saying they bake a lot of bread, and so they've ordered some oil. So please just take our details and get in touch, all right? So, living with asthma. Let's just bow our heads as we pray once again. Father, we thank you that we can come together today. And I do pray that you will be with me as we go through this presentation. And we pray that you'll give to us understanding, Father. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. As I begin, I think that every one of us on this platform will know someone who is suffering from asthma. If you have shortness of breath or tightness in your chest, or you experience wheezing or suffer from prolonged coughing, then you might be suffering from asthma. Asthma symptoms can get worse when something irritates the airways. This is called an asthma attack, and things that make symptoms worse are commonly called asthma triggers. So, according to the latest report from the Global Asthma Network, as many as 334 million people have asthma worldwide. So that's a lot of people. Historically, asthma was a disease of high-income countries, but this is no longer the case, and most people affected are now in developing countries with a fast-growing prevalence in these countries. The burden of asthma worldwide is important, with strong impact on quality of life. Burden is the strongest for children and senior population, because obviously these are the most vulnerable people in our society. The 2014 Global Asthma Report estimated that 14% of the world's children experience asthma symptoms. 8.6% of young adults aged between 18 to 45 experience asthma symptoms. And 4.5% of young adults have been diagnosed with asthma and or are taking treatment for asthma. So just to share some asthma facts with you, 5.4 million people in the UK are currently receiving treatment for asthma. 1.1 million children, 1 in 11, and 4.3 million adults, 1 in 12. Okay, so this is in our own country, what's happening. And every 10 seconds, someone is having a potentially life-threatening asthma attack in the UK. On average, 3 people die from an asthma attack in the UK every day. You know, and we know the pain, the trauma that death brings when it comes to our door, to our home. And so it's always something that's very, very sad indeed. In 2017, the most recent data available, 1,484 people in the UK died from an asthma attack. Around 200,000 people in the UK have severe asthma, And this is a debilitating form of the condition that doesn't respond to usual treatments and can cause people to be in and out of hospitals. And I do remember as a young pastor, there was one of my members who was suffering from severe asthma. Really made her life very, very difficult indeed. The NHS spends around 1 billion a year treating and caring for people with asthma. In 2016-17, the most recent data available, there was 77,124 admissions to hospital for asthma in the UK. In England, 4.5 million people, that's 1 in 11, are currently receiving treatment for asthma. And this consists of 932,000 children and 3,600,000 adults. Scotland, 368,000 people, it's 1 in 14, are currently receiving treatment for asthma. And this includes 72,000 children and 296,000 adults. So this is just giving you some asthma facts around the United Kingdom. In Wales, 314,000 people, 1 in 10, are currently receiving treatment for asthma. And this consists of 59,000 children and 256,000 adults. So if you notice, just around 10% of the population are suffering with asthma. And then I include something about South Africa because I know that we have folk from South Africa on this platform. Between 6 and 10% of adults in South Africans have asthma. According to the South African Medical Journal, this condition, especially when it is undiagnosed and untreated, which is often the case, can be deadly. So the symptoms of asthma: wheezing, coughing, and chest tightness becoming severe and constant, being too breathless to eat, speak, or sleep, breathing faster, a fast heartbeat, drowsiness, confusion, exhaustion or dizziness, blue lips or fingers, fainting. And so not all asthma patients will have the same symptoms. You know, we're all different from one another, and the symptoms can affect us in different ways. So what is it that causes asthma? There are several risk factors for asthma that increase the chances of developing it. These include allergies, air pollution, and a family history of the condition. People can, of course, also develop asthma without exposure to any of these risk factors, though that is less likely. If you or someone close to you have asthma, it's very important to become familiar with the asthma triggers. This way you can manage them better. The exact cause for asthma is unknown. Let me just say, I'll share with you an experience that I had early in my ministry. For years, I have suffered with hay fever. And we were in campaign in Tottenham. And I remember one evening while being in the tent, there was a thunderstorm, and I began to find it very difficult to breathe. I've never had problems with asthma before, and but that particular evening, I found it very, very difficult to breathe. Didn't think too much more of it. It went away, and I came home. But during the night, I woke up with what I can only describe as an asthma attack, where I was struggling to breathe. Woke up, got in the car, drove to the hospital, and they put me on the nebulizer. I didn't even tell Rowena that I was going to the hospital, didn't want to disturb her, just got up and went to the hospital where I was nebulized. It was an asthma attack, the one and only in my life. It came, it went, never came back. It's never bothered me again. And I've always found that a very strange thing that took place. But, you know, it came and it went for me. It is perfectly possible to live a normal life with asthma, although there isn't a cure for asthma. And this is from the medical journals. Time and time again, as I prepared, I was being told that there isn't a cure for asthma just yet. It can be managed well with the right medication and self-care. Even though asthma is a lifelong condition, known as a chronic condition, effective management can sometimes relieve symptoms to the point where they don't interfere all that much with daily life. Most people with asthma can be as active as anyone else, although people with severe asthma may find their condition does cause them some problems. So the triggers for asthma: tobacco smoke, dust mites, outdoor air pollution, pests such as cockroaches and mice. Some years ago in New York, a group of scientists did a test, some studies to find out what were the symptoms, what were the causes, what were the triggers for asthma. And they found that cockroach, the protein from cockroaches was one of the problems that caused asthma. So if you're living in unclean conditions, if you've got cockroaches around or mice, then certainly that's one of the triggers. Pets, mold, cleaning and disinfection, cold air, these are some of the triggers for your asthma. Really, there was a climatic change. The night that I had the asthma attack, there was a climatic change in the atmosphere that brought that on for me. So asthma is an inflammatory disease. And here on the left, you will see a normal airway, the alveoli at the end there. And notice you've got the relaxed, smooth muscles. And then in the middle, you'll see the wall of the tube is inflamed. The asthmatic airway is inflamed. And then you have on the right, the asthmatic airway that's during the attack. Notice how the muscles on the outside have tightened around the airway, making it very, very difficult for the person to breathe. Here is another example. So when an attack happens, the body sees the trigger as an invader and seeks to shut it out. So those smooth muscles on the outside will tighten. That's what causes the attack. So the airways swell, fill with mucus, and the muscles squeeze. 14% of the world's children experience asthma symptoms. Now, many of you will have heard this news item, and especially if you live in London. I grew up in London using the South Circular, so I know that road very well. And little Ella Kissy Deborah lived 80 feet from the extremely busy and polluted South Circular Road. I used to walk that road every day to go to school. Her ordeal began at the age of 6 when she was taken to the hospital in 2010 because of a severe coughing fit. She was placed in a medically induced coma for 3 days to stabilize her condition. And by 2012, she was classified as disabled because of her respiratory problems. Sadly, she died in February 15, 2013, after a severe asthma attack. Between her first hospitalization and her death, she had been hospitalized 27 times and experienced multiple seizures. This is from the magazine Eco Watch, and if you were to type in her name into Google, it will come up. Now, because of her death, her mother did pursue legal action, and recently the coroner ruled that the cause of her death was due to air pollution, and they are seeking to do something about that situation. Now, definition of asthma is a chronic disease involving the airways, the tubes that carry air in and out of the lungs. These airways are inflamed in people with asthma. The inflammation makes the airways very sensitive, and the tubes often react to allergens or irritations. So obviously, if you're allergic, if you've got hay fever or other allergies, then that will make your condition worse. There are 4 categories of asthma: mild intermittent, you have mild persistent, moderate persistent, and then severe persistent. Okay, so asthma is a lifelong or chronic breathing problem caused by swelling or inflammation of the airways in the lungs. It cannot be cured, but it can be prevented and controlled. And let me just say that I do have members of my family who have asthma, and I know what that's like, because if we're going out, one of the things that you cannot go out without, we normally will take out the kids to go play or whatever, and they've got to take this little inhaler with them, quick relief inhalers, quickly open swollen airways that are limiting breathing. So I recognize just how important these little devices are for those who are suffering with asthma. In some cases, allergy medications are necessary. They're often called rescue inhalers because they come in a small inhaler that you carry with you and puff when you have symptoms. The effects last for 4 to 6 hours. The 2 main reliever medicines are, these come in various brands made by different companies. There are different inhalers, devices that deliver the same reliever medicines. Salbutamol brands includes, and there are other various names. These inhalers are often, but not always, blue in color. Other inhalers containing different medicines can be blue. So always read the label. Now, notice this. Eli Lilly, founder of one of America's largest drug companies, says a drug with no side effects is no drug at all. So if you have asthma and you're having to use these things, and it's so important, the most important thing, beloved, is that you stay alive. You know, do what you need to do to stay alive, because life is such a precious gift. And so this is not a criticism. What I say next is not a criticism, but a drug with no side effects is no drug at all. So says Eli Lilly. So what are the possible side effects of salbutamol? Headache, feeling nervous, restless, excitable, and or shaky, fast, slow, uneven heartbeat, bad taste in the mouth, dry mouth, sore throat and cough, inability to sleep. These are just some of the side effects of the drugs that you'll be taking. Terbutaline may cause side effects. Tell your doctor if any of these symptoms are severe and do not go away. Uncontrollable shaking of a part of the body, nervousness, dizziness, drowsiness, difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep, weakness, headache, nausea. Juxtaposed against dying. It's very important that you take these drugs. And I would never take any of the kids out in my family if they didn't have their inhalers, and their parents wouldn't allow them to come either. You know, so these, I'm just pointing out some of the side effects that can happen as a result of taking these drugs. Side effects of oral corticosteroids used on a long-term basis, that's longer than 3 months, include osteoporosis, which is fragile bones, hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, weight gain, increased vulnerability to infection, cataracts, glaucoma, thinning of the skin, bruising easily. So notice that when you're taking these drugs, these are some of the inevitable side effects that come with them. So the frontal lobe is the seat of spirituality, morality, and the will and judgment making. And in the great controversy between good and evil, an optimally functioning frontal lobe is crucial. And we are at that time where we can see clearly that we are moving into the closing events of Earth's history. I really do believe that as we see the call for the green Sabbath, the environmental Sabbath, there is just this call now for this green Sabbath, and this is going to be leading into the Sunday laws, the loud cry, the second coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. Michael is about to stand up very soon, and so you need an optimally functioning frontal lobe so that you can make the very best decisions that you can in these very difficult times. And so all right, so we just have a look at drugs that damage the frontal lobe. Anti-inflammatory NSAIDs, asthma medication, beta agonists, tranquilizers, painkillers, antihistamines, cold and allergy medications, blood pressure medication, antidepressants, sleeping tablets, and the source from Dr. Neil Nedley's book, Proof Positive. So, beloved, why I'm sharing this with you is that if you are an asthma sufferer and or whatever else you may have, and you are taking these medication, then it makes sense to look for an alternative. It makes sense to try and say, well, do I want to live my life like this? Do I want to stay like this for the rest of my life? Or are there better ways in which I can manage my condition? Dr. J.H. Tilden says, disease is the body's effort at expelling toxins. Disease is the body's effort at expelling toxins. Dr. Tilden was a doctor in the 19th century, and this was his view on health. When the body is enervated, elimination is checked. Okay, so the body is not functioning very well. It's not able to expel the toxins as it should. In fact, it is said that the quickest way to regain health is through elimination. This in turn results in a retention of toxins in the blood, the condition which we speak of as toxemia. This state produces a crisis, which is nothing more than heroic or extraordinary efforts of the body to eliminate waste or toxins from the blood. Beloved, this is so important. I'm going to read it again. When the body is enervated, elimination is checked. This in turn results in a retention of toxins in the blood, the condition which we speak of as toxemia. This state produces a crisis, which is nothing more than heroic or extraordinary efforts of the body to eliminate waste or toxins from the blood. The body was made to heal itself. So it is this crisis that we term disease. Such accumulation of toxins, when once established, will continue until nerve energy has been restored to normal by removing the cause. So-called disease is nature's effort to eliminate toxins from the blood. All so-called diseases are crises of toxemia. And this is by Robert Field, Naturopathy for the 21st Century. So what Field is saying is that one of the things that we need to do to find healing is to eliminate the toxins from the blood, from the body. Your body, when we're sick, the body is trying to say something to you. The body is telling you whatever it is that you're doing, you need to look at changing it. You need to do it another way. And the quickest way is through elimination. So disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from a violation of the laws of health. This is the Ministry of Healing, page 127. Notice just how in line Ellen White is with what Robert Field is saying. And he's a scientist speaking in the 21st century. She's an uneducated woman writing back in the 19th century. This has to be divinely inspired. Let me just say amen all by myself. Amen, because I can't hear you guys.
Amen.
Okay. So, living with asthma. That's the title of this presentation. And I then came across this book by Professor Ava Moeller, Living Healthy with Asthma. And I'm thinking, no, we don't want to live with asthma, you know, don't want to live with it. You know, well, we need to find a cure, find a better way. And all the scientific material is saying there is no cure. You got to live with this. But I believe that God wants us to be able to do better by his grace. So look at all these inflammatory diseases: hay fever, sinusitis, bronchitis, rhinitis, hepatitis, arthritis. The trick there is the itis at the end, which represents, it's the suffix for inflammation or infection. So appendicitis, inflammation of the appendix; arthritis, inflammation of the joints; bronchitis, inflammation of the mucous membrane in the bronchial tubes; colitis, inflammation of the lining of the colon; conjunctivitis, and so on. You know, so inflammation does not produce the same results in all of us because we're different. The effects will also differ for different individuals. So someone has said that there's only one disease, inflammation. And so you notice that it will produce different results in different individuals because our bodies are different. Just a quote here from Dr. Joel Furman. He says, too frequently, patients suffer from lifelong problems that are merely the response or irritated tissues to noxious stimuli. If the body had been given the chance to remove the noxious irritants, the troublesome chronic condition would never have resulted. It is accurate to view inflammation as a corrective attempt by the body to restore normalcy to itself. In fact, let me just say, we all need inflammation. Inflammation is a good thing. It's only when it gets out of control. We're not dealing with it, but we need inflammation to heal. So it is accurate to view inflammation as a corrective attempt by the body to restore normalcy to its cells and tissues. The inflammatory process is closely intertwined with the process of repair. So the body is really trying to heal itself when it's in that inflamed condition. And we just need to work with the body, know the tools to use in order to help us to get rid of those toxins that are in the body. So what are the causes of inflammation? Pathogens like bacteria, viruses, or fungi. Did you know that in one typical meat meal, we take in up to 750 million pathogens in a typical meat meal? So these are the foods that are causing the body to be inflamed. When I was in South Africa, the braai was a very popular meal. People just love to eat all different kinds of meat, but this is highly inflammatory to the body, whether it's your rice and peas and your jerk, whatever it is. All of these things are creating inflammation in the body. And as I've said before, because we are different from one another, inflammation in the body will result in different diseases in different people. This is the vegetarian option, whether you're using Linda McCartney sausages or the hash brown, baked beans, fried eggs, inflammation. So soda and baking powder, The use of soda or baking powder in bread making is harmful and unnecessary. Soda causes inflammation of the stomach and often poisons the entire system. Repeated use of these products can cause ulcer of the stomach. There are healthier alternatives, writing agents now on the market. So just a few weeks ago, Lewis had stated about this. I've got competition. Thank you. Just a few weeks ago, Lewis had highlighted this very problem. So these are some of the things that are causing inflammation in the body. So I want to suggest some alternative ways for the management of your asthma. Go on a detox program. Change your lifestyle and pursue a plant-based diet. Practice the 8 laws of health. Let me just say, there are some very good health practitioners, natural health practitioners on this platform. I'm going to recommend, just recently, Louise, I went on the 10-day detox program with Mercy's Door, run by Louise, and I'm sure she is experiencing great, fantastic results as a result of people going on that 10-day detox program. So you've got Manor House that are offering the detox program. You've got Jason with his center there in South Africa. Get in touch with these individuals because we are taking in these toxins into our bodies on a daily basis. Through the foods that we eat, there are environmental toxins that we're taking in. And, when I was growing up as a child, my dad used to do something that we all hated. If you're from the West Indies, it's called a washout. And so my dad would give us a washout from time to time. We would have to drink Cenopods, and it was just horrible. We would get this diarrhea as a result of taking the Cenopods, and I didn't really realize what a blessing it was for us. But, my dad didn't explain the science behind it. You just go and get washed out, and it was uncomfortable. As soon as we were able, we stopped this. But now I know just how important this was part of the cleansing. Elimination is one of the quickest ways to healing. So whatever health challenges you may be having, one of the things you need to do is to go on a cleanse, to go on a proper detox program with one of these practitioners. Change your lifestyle and pursue a plant-based diet. Practice the 8 laws of health. Now, just suppose you're saying to me, my child is vegan, does not take milk or cheese or any animal product, but still has asthma. Very good question. Babies born through the birth canal ingest their mother's microbes, which go on to populate their microbiota. However, babies born through C-section do not ingest these microbes, and so they are more vulnerable to all kinds of diseases. And I would recommend that you watch Barbara O'Neill's presentation entitled Healing the Gut on YouTube. Fantastic presentation. And basically, if your child has been born through C-section, they are more vulnerable to all kinds of diseases, hay fever, asthma, being just to mention just a couple, because the gut microbiota is not fully developed. And if you knew that, then you would give your child more foods, more things that would develop that gut microbiota. Check your child for allergies. You may want to do an allergy test to find out what they're allergic to. But I would want to be building the gut microbiota, because this will be helpful. And here are the things that children love. And so if you've got a child who's been born through C-section, and this is the kind of foods they're eating, then they're gonna get sick, beloved. They will get sick. And let me just say this. I came across a book titled How to Bring Up Your Parents. And it's able to tell them what they won't eat. I'm surprised, sometimes I see parents fluffing around their children. They give them biscuits, they give them chocolates, and all of these things is just gonna make them sick. And I wish to say also that from a metabolic point of view, children still need to be eating every 4 or 5 hours, but we're giving them, they're coming for all kinds of things, and we're just giving it to them. And as loving parents, we do not realize that we are doing harm to our children. So we need to be giving foods to our children that will build the microbiome, make them more healthy. Also, as adults, if you are not looking after the gut microbiota, then of course you are also more vulnerable. So as I close out, you may already, this is turmeric, one of the strong anti-inflammatories that you can be using. You may already have this bright yellow spice in your pantry for cooking, flavorful curries and other dishes. Turmeric gets its color from curcumin. This natural coloring, I get up here at the farm, my wife will bring me a glass of warm water with lemon and turmeric in it. It is an anti-inflammatory. It's also helping to cleanse the gut. So for wheezing and shortness of breath, nettle and thyme tea. The nettle is in abundance. Thyme is something that you can find very, very easily. And again, this will help with your respiratory condition. Ginseng is a plant from Asia that some people claim to have many health benefits, including the improvement of respiratory conditions. Garlic is also thought to have significant health benefits like reducing cholesterol and blood pressure. A small study done on rats connected the use of ginseng and garlic to the reduction of asthma symptoms. The study exposed rats to the substance that affects the lungs. The researchers gave some of the rats ginseng and garlic during the exposure. Those given the herbs had decreased symptoms and inflammation as opposed to the other group. Now, comfrey is also a very good anti-inflammatory and is good not only for healing wounds, but also has a long history of relieving cough. So these are some of the natural remedies that you can be using if you've got asthma. Elderberry lung tonic, holistic. Joan shared this recipe with me. She's on the platform today. And I have bought these 2 tonics from Joan for some friends who were having problems. So the elderberry lung tonic, organic elderberries, licorice root, eucalyptus leaves, lemon balm, poke root, oregano oil, cayenne pepper, vitamin C, pine needles, menthol crystal in a vegetable glycerin base. That's one lung tonic. And then the other one, horseradish lung tonic, grated horseradish, licorice root, menthol crystals, and lemon balm. And so, beloved, I wanted to close out today by suggesting to you that you make sure that you get a detox. I really do recommend that as the challenge this week. But what I want to do before I finish, because as I went through this preparation time and time again, we were being told that there is no cure. There is no cure. You've got to live with this thing for life. And so I have a couple of friends on the platform today. And if you would just indulge me for a while, I want to speak, I did mention when early in my ministry, there was a member of mine who was suffering from severe asthma. That was Myrtle, and I've asked Myrtle to come on, if she would just come on. Myrtle, are you here?
I'm here,
She's
Pastor.
done. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Myrtle, when I was your pastor all those years ago, you had severe asthma. And I was pleasantly surprised one day. You were visiting us here in Spain, and you said, I don't have asthma anymore. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So, Myrtle, just tell us about that.
Okay. I had asthma when I was a child. I had it really severe. Just to give you a bit of background, what it was like for me. I would say every about 6 months or so, I'd be in hospital. I got older, and as I got older, I didn't realize that asthma could be cured. I thought it was just something I had to put up with. I was on steroids. Every time I went to hospital, they would pump me full of steroids because I was so ill. I would be put on nebulizers. I had Ventolin, what was it? Salbutamol, as you said, and Beckonade. Those were my drugs. As it got worse, I was many times when I was at work, I'd have an asthma attack and had to be taken to hospital. To the point that I was even in trouble at my workplace because they said I was always constantly sick. So
I remember that, Myrtle. I was having to write letters to your workplace for them to have mercy.
You remember, Master, it was that bad. They wanted to sack me because I don't think I did a full 6 months without getting sick, or 3 months, I don't think. In the end, I was at British Library. I worked at British Library, and I saw some books that just used to pass my way because that's what I was dealing with, books. And one of them was Marie Trebienne, a lady that had managed to help a lot of people by using Swedish bitters. And I read that book, and then I thought, well, there got to be some cure for asthma. There got to be something else in this. Her book wasn't even about asthma, but the many things that she had cured, I thought there got to be other books. So I started to read absolutely any book I could get my hands on. I can't tell you that there was one book. There was just loads. But then I started to see that it was all about diet. So I started to change my diet. So we brought up on, the usual rice and peas, which we would have in my household every single weekend. We had the rice and peas for Sunday dinner. So I started to eliminate the meat, take the meat out and eat the rice. I started to eliminate milk, get rid of milk, take soya milk or almond milk. Now I rarely have milk. I pour hot water on my muesli and just put very little milk as and when I need it. I don't use it that often. When I went to the asthma clinic, I used to go to Chase Farm asthma clinic every year for my usual checkup. And Dr. Jones, my asthma specialist, said to me, Myrtle, if you do not get out of this country, you won't live very long. He said, you've got scar tissue around your lungs. And soon you won't be able to breathe at all because the asthma drugs have affected your lungs so badly that no matter what comes your way, you are going to be ill. So I would get flu. I'd get hay fever, everything that passed my way, I'd get it, Anybody who was sick and coughed, I would be ill. But eventually, in changing my diet and drinking different things, I found drinking juices where you actually squeeze the juice, that helped me. And then I started to take loads of things. I did a raw food diet. I've tried everything. And gradually, I noticed that I was sleeping better. I wasn't breathing so heavily, because when you have asthma, you tend to breathe very heavily because you're always trying to get air in your lungs. And now I don't have asthma at all. That's all I can say. I haven't been to the hospital in, must be about 10 years. I haven't been to the hospital, and I didn't even realize that. It was only afterwards, one day I was sitting down and saying, but wait, I haven't had a hospital visit for years. And I think that God has shown us that there's foods out there that you can eat. I eat radishes. I used to hate radish, but I was told that they help allergies. So I started to buy radish every week and eat radishes. I eat celery juice. I have raw spinach, kale. We have regularly every week. And when you make the raw food and you squeeze the lemon on, it can be quite tasty. I've found so many things, and I eat a lot of fruit. I have fruit for lunch now. So I try not, I do have chocolate bars. I won't say I don't have them. I just say I don't have them regularly, you know, but I'm fine now. I don't have a problem with asthma. But the reason I have to say I'm asthmatic is if I go anywhere and I don't walk with my inhalers, they will then turn around and say, well, we're not going to cover you because you're asthmatic and you're not walking with your medication. But to say I'm ill, no, not anymore.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful testimony, Alberto. Thank you so much. That is excellent. I just want to bring on one other person. I'm going to call on my good friend Joan. A similar testimony. Joan, will you just say a word about your asthma?
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Myrtle, for that testimony. Actually, you said quite a few things that I'm actually going to repeat in mine. Yeah. So in 2012, I was diagnosed with asthma. And when I went to the doctor simply because when I was in meetings at work, I used to cough and splutter. My eyes would water. I would feel out of breath. If I was on the bus, I'd be coughing and spluttering. And I'd never had that before. So I was wondering what was going on. I was trying to pinpoint in my life what was going wrong, why all of a sudden I was starting to gasp for air. And when I went to the doctors, they told me that I had asthma. So I was wondering, why would I develop asthma at this time of my life? And so what had happened was I attended a medical missionary training. And I asked the medical missionary, is there anything I can do? I've just been diagnosed with asthma, but I don't want the asthma. And the reason why is, Pastor Davis had mentioned the inhalers, because I was placed on a blue inhaler and I was placed on a brown inhaler. But I remember when the doctor had asked me to try the blue inhaler because they wanted to see if I would get the technique right as to how I actually do the puffs and breathe it in, I became very woozy and lightheaded. And the doctor explained that the reason for the wooziness is the actual medication within the inhaler. And at that point, I realized that I didn't want to have to use something that made me feel that way. Anyway, to cut a long story short, the medical missionary, which was Jason, had said to me to try to go on lemon and warm water. And he said to actually do that for about 2 weeks. So I was to take the lemon and warm water at least half an hour before breakfast. And so I did this religiously for the 2 weeks. But what I found was I was getting even more sick. I was coughing, spluttering, eyes watering, my ears were blocked. And when I told him, he explained it's because my body was slowly detoxing, because lemon is the miracle fruit, known as the miracle fruit, and it is an absolutely brilliant detoxifier. So I did that religiously for 2 weeks. But on top of that, I remember that I actually took a parasite cleanse. So there was a small bottle of parasite cleanse that was given to me by Jason. And he told me to put a few drops in there in water. So I was doing that. I stuck to the parasite cleanse. I stuck to the lemon and warm water. And Pastor and even Myrtle mentioned also to actually change your lifestyle, diet. So I came off the cheese. I came off the milk, cow's milk, and I came off quite a few things that was mucus causing, even white foods like rice, white rice, white flour, white bread. My husband and I, we introduced more fruits, more vegetables into our diet. And I realized that I was starting to feel a lot better, absolutely a lot better. Asthma, when I suffered from asthma, I could not walk a few feet, up a hill or go up the stairs without going out of breath. It was quite debilitating for me. So I praise the Lord, because that was back in 2012, and we're now in 2021. And I've never touched any inhalers. I've never needed them. I've never gone into no coughing fits. And I realized that when we're told to change our lifestyle, if we're advised by anyone, it's always good to follow that regime, because for me, I'm not a fan of medication. Of course, I can understand it in times of emergency. But as for me, I don't, anything that kind of changes the body, makes you feel woozy, it's not good. So I'm hoping that you've benefited from our testimonies, or will benefit from our testimonies, because it certainly has helped me. And I do advise other people who come to me and mention that they are suffering from asthma. I don't tell them to come off their inhalers, but it's always safe to share with them how they can actually come off the inhalers, change your lifestyle, come off all mucus causing foods. That is so important, because one thing that I think Pastor mentioned in his presentation is that asthma is an inflammation in your lungs, but it's also caused by a lot of mucus buildup. And all your body's trying to do when you're coughing all the time is trying to expel that mucus that is sitting deep within your lungs. So it's important to follow the regime if you're told to. And Pastor is not telling you, Myrtle, myself, we're not telling you to come off your salbutamol or your Ventolin. What we're trying to say to you is, we tried it and it's worked for us, and we want to make sure that it works for you. Try to change your lifestyle if you're on all mucus causing foods. And parasite cleanses are good. Colon cleanses can actually get rid of parasites too. So there are different ways you can do it to try to get better from it.
Excellent, thank you very much. So guys, I'm going to rename this presentation Living Without Asthma, if you don't mind. You've listened to Myrtle, you've listened to Joan, and let me just say also, I suffered with hay fever for years. And in 2015, I went to a lifestyle center, had a detox, and not only did I get rid of my hay fever, but I also got rid of my sleep apnea. I suffered from sleep apnea for several years, and I didn't even realize that by getting the detox that I would be able to get rid of the hay fever and the sleep apnea. Those are just byproducts of me having this detox. So just want to encourage all of you here today listening to this, that you don't have to be shackled with asthma. Do act responsibly. As Joan says, we're not telling you to put away your medication, not saying to you, don't take your medicines, because that's very important. But go and talk with somebody. In fact, the challenge that I'm issuing for today is to find somebody where you can get a detox, because all of us do need that cleanse. So here I'm done. Sharon, over to you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. It was, well, it looks like you've got Holistic's logo by your name, but Holistic You, but it was a holistic presentation, so thank you so much. Holistic. You looked at the so-called solutions for asthma, in the sense that they produce side effects which people don't really want, but you need to stay alive. As you said, it's do what you can to stay alive. And I do like the renaming of your presentation, Living, how was it? Living Without Asthma?
living without asthma. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And, you know, Sharon, as
Unmute your mic, Pastor.
sorry, yes, I'm just saying I would like to invite our guests to talk to Myrtle and to Joan, asking them questions as we go into the question time, because they're living proof. These guys have walked the journey and they can testify.
You're muted,
Can't hear you,
Sharon.
Sharon.
It happened to me too. Right, I know there's been a lot of to and froing in the chat with questions and answers. So yes, there was a request for Louise's website, Mercy's Door. And there was lots of, when you mentioned about the washout, there was a lot of comment on there. Somebody saying that they cried with every portion of Cereseed tea. I hear you on that one. And thank you also, Herminia, for sharing the link to Barbara O'Neill's Healing in the Gut. Thank you so much for that. So yes, there will be some questions. I know hands have gone up already. And I thank you again for setting the challenge. The challenge is to get a detox. Okay, there's several ways you can detox, whether you're doing the lemon or whether you're doing the black cohosh. I remember the parasite cleanse that we took together, Joan, with Jason. And there's so many different ways. And Louise does her detox program as well. Louise reads, so with Mercy's Door, as well as Manor House. So before we take the hands, I'll just take a couple of questions that are on YouTube. Well, those are YouTube questions? Oh, sorry, they're Zoom questions. Okay, how do I get the Holistic Life Center? How do I get to the Holistic Life Center? So if that can be addressed on the chat. And I feel impressed to share a gift with Myrtle, but we'll come to that. Okay, so Ben, you have a hand. I think you were the first person to raise a hand.
Yes, thank you so much for this presentation, because we have absorbed so much information. My question is that my wife suffered from asthma. Obviously, because of this pandemic, do we have to go and consult our doctor first, or do we have to wait until we get to the center and then tell them?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't, you always work with your medical practitioner, but I don't think for what we're talking about in terms of the detox, you don't need to tell your doctor, because you can go and get the cleanse at one of these centers, whether you're going to Manor House or you're doing what Louise does online. These are not threatening your health in any way. They're just improving your health. And then you can walk into your doctor's surgery and say, hey, people, Ray, doc, I just need you to sign me off my medication. You know, so no, and very often doctors are very skeptical when you talk about going the natural route. They might want to deter you or whatever. So just do what you need to do in terms of the detox, because it is life-changing, it is health beneficial, it's not threatening in any way, but in order to be signed off, you do need to go back to your doctor and share with your doctor the blessings that you're experiencing.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Sam.
Thank you, Pastor.
Right, now, before anybody else asks any questions, can I just remind you of the disclaimer? So we're not here to have private consultations. If your question's more of a general nature, then that's fine, we can take them. But in terms of if it's personal to yourself or somebody that you know, then if you can contact the presenter or somebody else who is like a practitioner, such as those that work at Manor House, or Louise, please contact them. They will have their details. I've seen some of them appear in the chat, so be mindful of that. And also, if you do go to Manor House after seeing the presentation on here, please mention that you heard about them on the True Temperance International show. We'd really appreciate that. So before I ramble on anymore, we shall take Suzette and Winston, and then Louise has a hand. So in that order, Suzette and Winston, and then Louise from the medical missionary.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Suzette. Whereabouts are you calling from?
I'm calling from Greenwich.
Oh, okay. So you're a local lady, as in the UK.
As in the UK, yes. I'm listening. I didn't hear everything, but I heard the last part of Marco's testimony. I'm asthmatic, and I got asthma when I was 29, and no, when I was 31. And somehow, I've changed a number of things, and my asthma will seem not to activate, and then one day it comes and I am literally in the hospital. Yeah. I have spent numerous time in the hospital. Yes, it doesn't bother me every time. I've been put on this new drug called Montelukast. There was a time when I was going through different medications because none of them seemed to work. And I have done detox, right? I'm not saying I have been swinging back and forth from being vegetarian, and I don't take milk. So I don't understand. I hear people talking, but is it possible? What maybe I'm not doing the right detox. So what advice do you have?
Yeah, that's very interesting, Suzette. And I we talk about doing the detox, but it's also the foods that you're eating. So it's not just doing one aspect of it. Going to do the detox and then coming back and having your patty and your whatever these things. So you've got to go on a holistic plant-based diet in order to supplement the detox. So it would be good to have a consultation with the practitioners that I've talked about here on the platform, so that they can then investigate further what it is, because on this platform we can't do that. But I would say talk to one of the practitioners on here, so that we can find out what's your diet looking like. I can't do it from here, but I would want to know what it is that you're eating, because the detox is essential. But once that detox is over, what else is going on? So please do talk to one of the health practitioners on here and see how they can help.
Yeah. Hi, Suzette.
Yes, hello.
Hi, Suzette. It's Joan here. As Pastor says, we would go through like a process of elimination. So step by step, we'll take a look at what you've tried, and then what we can introduce to help you along.
Okay.
Yeah. So to be like a process of elimination. I know it definitely worked for myself, and there were a lot of things that I had to eliminate from my diet, and then there were a lot of things I had to introduce. And so, I don't mind. None of us minds having a chat with you, and just to go through it step by step, process of elimination, and find out what's going on. Is that all right?
Yes, no problem.
Okay. Can I also suggest something as well? If you wrote down, take a diary of everything you ate every single day, it builds a picture of what you like to eat. Even if you ate a sweet, write that down. And then when you start to eliminate, you can see exactly what you're eating every single day. So you'll know what to eliminate. Okay.
Yes.
Can I say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just listening in. I have asthma as well. That's why I'm on here. I'm not a practitioner or anything, although I dabble a lot in alternative stuff for myself and my children and friends. But I just wanted to say, have you considered that you could be allergic to something else? Because the environmental, there's also environmental pollution to think of, and you could be alert. You know, I hear everybody talking about food, but outside of food, there are other things that can trigger your asthma, and especially in older age. Because my asthma started when I was pregnant with my daughter, and I was like 39 years old, and that's the first time I had anything to do with asthma. And I was hospitalized, and I was hospitalized for 2 weeks when I was pregnant with my daughter. Cracked a rib because of so much coughing. It was so severe. All sorts of things happened. And but moving on from there, I've had to consider things like environmental pollution and things that you might just be allergic to, food as well as other things, just you know, even dyes, and there's all sorts of things so there's a lot to consider, not just foods alone.
No, I think I did mention that I can't call you just. Sorry, let me just.
I came. Sorry, Pastor. I came in late. So if you said anything, I didn't catch that. So I apologize if you had already covered that. I'm sorry.
Not at all. We did deal with the environmental issue. Talked about the 9-year-old girl there who died in London from the poor air quality. You know, and there's the only thing you can do if you are living the life, you have done the detox, you have following the plant-based diet, then the next thing for you to do is to move to the country. So just it's a process of elimination, seeing what it is that works for you. But I do hear we recognize the environmental issues for sure.
Okay, thank you, Suzette. I hope that's helped. And the next person to speak, and thank you also for your answers as well, people, just me and Pastor Sam. The next person to speak, there's been a lot of questions asking, can I have Mercy's doors details? Louise.
Mercy.
Louise?
Pastor, I love that one. Mercy, he said, amen. Thank you, Sharon. Louise here from Mercy's Door Health Ministry. I just wanted to respond to a few things in the chat, and also to some of the things that some of the viewers have said, and Pastor and Joan have said. Joan, try and combine. There was a point where Lucille in the chat said that once you've had a detox, you need to kind of stick on that health ladder. Do you understand? You need to, you know, a lot of people, they get detox, they get a lot of toxins out of the system, and they start to benefit health-wise from the detox program. And then 6 months later or 4 months later, they come back to me and they say, oh, I'm starting to feel unwell again. I'm starting to breathe really badly again. And I said to them, okay, so what have you done different since you detoxed? And they said, well, I've stayed on mainly the same diet. And I said, okay, have you gone back to eating this or that, or have you stopped doing this, that? And they said, oh, I didn't realize I need to stay on it long term. They didn't realize they needed to stay on a health regime long term. They thought I'd go on the detox program for 10 days or 10, 15 days, or whichever program you choose to do. And that's it. They feel better, and that's it. And it's really important. And I need to really stress this. It's really important that we look at things holistically. We look at things holistically, because I always say to my clients, whether it's online or they come and stay in my house for programs, if this got you better, then what is it telling you? Do you understand what I'm saying? What is it saying to you? It's saying, this is what got you better. This is going to keep you better, hopefully by God's grace. And so you need to stick to your program. In terms of, no matter what your symptoms of asthma may be, I always say to people, whether I've got cancer patients, whether it's diabetic, high blood pressure, it doesn't matter. I always say to them, you're going to be detox first. You're going to have to be detox first. And then we go from step to step to step from there. And, you know, I really like the fact that Pastor has renamed his program No More Asthma. Do you understand? Because I believe in the health message, and I believe that although we may not have all the answers at our fingertips right now, I don't have a problem with doctors. They try and do their job the best way possible, I hope. But I do not believe they have all the answers, and they have been trained a certain way. And I don't have a problem. Well, I do have a problem with that, but I won't go there. But what I'm trying to say is that they do not always have the answer to everything. We don't have the answer to everything. But unless you're willing to take your health into your own hands to a certain degree and try different things without having to go to the GP first and say, can I drink a glass of water? I know people might think, don't be silly. I'm being really serious. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because people come back to me and they say, well, my doctor said I'm not supposed to drink a lot of water because I go to the toilet a lot. And I just think, okay, but I'm trying to say you need to take your health into your own hands to a certain degree. And you need to do an elimination process, as it's been talked about. Yes, there are environmental elements that comes into play, and you need to do that. You may have to do that as well. But first of all, take your health into hands and start doing an elimination process with detox or whatever it is, and do a step-by-step thing. People's been living with asthma for many years. Sometimes they want a quick cure. It doesn't always work like that. Do you understand? It's sometimes you have to go through the process to get to the end stage. So yeah, just be encouraged. Don't think that there's no help out there. There is help out there. It may take several trials, but by God's grace, you'll find, hopefully find a way through that.
Thank you, Louise. And have you posted your contact details in the chat?
I have posted it, and I'm going to post it again, Sharon, I promise.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. And hi in the background, I forgot your name.
Boaz.
Huh?
Boaz.
Okay, yes. Hiya. Nice to see you. Right, there's a couple more hands. Another thing that you can use is essential oils as well. I'm not sure if that may have been mentioned. It could have been when I nipped out of the room, but at the moment I've got one going. It's called Air, and it's got it smells so good. It's good for the airways, and that's one of the things we do with True Temperance International. We have classes on essential oils. Can I
just agree with you on that? I would actually agree with you on that with the essential oils. That's something that I use. Frankincense, and peppermint, and oh, there's another one I can't think of it. But frankincense is very good.
Yes. So
you're talking about.
That's right. That's right. So I've got some going on at the moment.
Right fresh now, air?
Oh no, there's an actual blend called Air, but yes, fresh air is good too. Fresh air is good too. Right, Marie, you made an excellent comment there. You said good health is a journey, not a destination, and I just think that was wonderful. I really appreciated that comment. And I did say earlier that Myrtle, I wanted to give you a gift. So if Marie and Myrtle, if you can send me direct messages in the chat with your phone number, then we can get in contact with each other, and I can get something sent out to you. So that's to Marie and to Myrtle.
Okay, sure.
Right, so the next
Sharon,
hand,
we've got Cassandra and we've got Jason.
Right, so I'm taking Cassandra's hand and then Jason in that order. Cassandra and then Jason. So please unmute Cassandra.
No, thank you. Hi, Pastor Sam.
Hey, Cassandra, how you doing?
Good. My question is actually related to Caleb. You know he's got asthma. Basically, Caleb got asthma from he was young. And basically, he had a milk allergy. And so the doctor gave me a milk that didn't have the proteins. And not long after that, he had his first asthma attacks. I'm pretty certain that was the cause of it. But recently, I've been really trying. I don't want him to have the inhaler anymore, but in emergencies, obviously, I have to give it.
Sure.
Yeah. But one thing that I have been trying is hot water in the morning. So before he has breakfast, he has warm water. and it has dramatically reduced how much I have to give that inhaler. Before, I would be giving it daily. Now it might be once every 3 weeks. He might have to have a puff if he's doing something really energetic or something. But my question is, because I think you mentioned the nettle and the thyme tea, could I give that as, instead of the inhaler, as the first choice? Is that like a quick remedy?
Well, you know, Cassandra, it's all a journey, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with trying different natural remedies, because there are no side effects. And that's the beautiful thing about natural medicine. There are no side effects. And so if you try something and it works. The other thing that I would be asking you about, Caleb, I know that you're on the health journey already. What's the diet like? You know,
basically he's got a milk allergy, so he's never had, since he was young, he's never had dairy. I've cut out wheat out of his diet, which has helped. All these things have helped, but haven't got rid of it totally. So I'm just on the journey with prayer as well, really just trying to get rid of it. I just don't want him to have it anymore.
Yeah, I understand. And what about the microbiome, the kind of foods that he's eating there that will build the good microbiota?
Yeah, I'm trying to let him have a lot of fresh stuff. He loves fresh food anyway, fresh fruit, greens. I'm trying to let him have the greens, like flaxseed. I add to he likes granola, so I add the flaxseed to it. Yeah, just trying to get him to have as much fresh stuff as he can.
Yeah, I'd just like to bring in some of the others to answer Cassandra's question, please.
I'd just like to say, Cassandra, sometimes when people suffer with asthma, they're not drinking enough water too. So what the body does, it block up the different holes in the body. And you may want to look whether or not he's having enough water. Is he having fizzy juice instead of water? You probably want to look at that area. If you are trying everything already and these are not working, look at the quantity of water he's having per day.
Okay, yeah, he does. I do try to make sure he drinks enough water, but sometimes maybe he's not reaching as much as he needs to. So I'll just work on that.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Sharon.
I was just saying thank you for your comments on that, Jonathan. I get all the names mixed up. Okay, and that's because Jason's name's in my head now. So thank you for your question as well. I'm sure there's others who are listening that can benefit from the advice that's given in response to your query. Right, so Jason, I'm not sure if you are still on the platform.
Just before you move on, Sharon.
Yes.
I just wanted to find out if Cassandra feels her question has been dealt with adequately.
Okay, sorry. Cassandra?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us. For those of you, some of you may, is it your first time, Cassandra, on True Temperance International?
Yeah.
It is. Okay, well, welcome. We're on here every week. Okay. We've been on here almost a year now, and we have lots of different topics on lifestyle diseases. And we're also featuring highly, more than anything, the 8 health doctors, of which one is trusting God. Okay, so we're lifting up the 8 health principles, and water is one of them. So thank you for that, Jonathan. So if we try and bring those into our lifestyle practices, those 8 health doctors, and if we're still struggling, then we can consult. Okay, so Jason Williams, are you still on the platform?
Good evening. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, you're there. We can hear you.
Okay, great. Good evening, TTI. Thank you very much, Pastor Sam, for your wonderful presentation. I wasn't there for the start, but I've been here for a while listening. Okay. In regards to asthma, it's something that I've been dealing with. I don't suffer from asthma, but I've been working with different patients with asthma. And one of the crucial thing is, asthma is a funny thing, because it's one word, but there's many different type and many different triggers. That's very important. That's very important to know, because I was reading, somebody posted in the group that they've done a detox and they've done this, yet they're not getting the victory or getting the upper hand. You need to understand what kind of asthma, what you're dealing with. That is very important, and make the work very light. Rather than doing a lot of stuff, you can be very specific when you understand what is triggering or where this asthma is coming from.
Because you're using that as
that piece of information I'm sharing is very, very crucial, yeah, because sometimes even your physician mainstream.
We've got some competition.
Okay. Hello, Janine. I think you need to mute. Janine.
Okay, can you hear me again, Jonathan? Am I right?
Go ahead, Jason.
Okay, so yeah, so it's very important. Even when you go to your normal medical doctor, they're gonna give you pretty much the same treatment for all asthma, but they haven't really isolated what's triggering it and what type of asthma you're dealing with. That is very important in how you deal with this issue, whether you manage it or reverse it. Obviously, there's many things you can do. If you have the COPD asthma, that's chronic obstructive pulmonary disorders, then you need to, you're gonna have a problem. You're gonna have a problem with it, especially if you got damage to your lungs. You're gonna have a problem. The simple remedies just won't work like that. You're gonna have a little problem. It's gonna take longer to heal, but it can be done. One of the blanket treatment that you can use for asthma, regardless of which one you got, is gingerol, the active ingredient that you find in ginger. That one can deal with almost all of them because of how it works with your lungs, okay? Ginger is one of the most powerful treatment for asthma. And I'm telling you that from experience, it is one of those treatments that goes right across the board. Yes, there's specifics with diet and allergic change, but even with allergy onset asthma and non-allergic onset asthma, ginger, it helps to bring things back in order. Very quick, very fast. And when I say quick, sometimes if you come on with an asthma attack, now, you take a strong enough dose of ginger, it normally rectifies that problem.
And Jason, could you say the methodology, is this just ginger in juice or ginger by itself? How are you taking it?
Ginger and warm water, but pure ginger. You get the ginger root, you grate it. If you have asthma, you take the ginger and you put it in your fridge and you freeze it. You freeze the ginger, you wash it, you put the ginger root in your fridge, freeze it. That way, when it's frozen, you grate it, and you can grate 1 tablespoon. It comes out like powder. You add that to your cup. That way, you give you a specific measurement. But if you haven't got that, then you can just cut off a little piece, like half of your thumb, and just blend that up or grate it, put it in some hot water and drink it. That is a very safe and very effective. I've been working with asthma for years, and that is one of the treatments that I've been using with success, regardless of which one and where it's coming from.
Excellent, excellent. And I think that's a good also a good recipe for Cassandra's question with her little boy.
Yes, with the little boy, yes, definitely. I've had that experience with little children as well. Obviously, with them, you need to cut the dosage down because it's strong. Just cut the dosage down. But it's a good mechanism to help deal with asthma right across the board, whilst you do the lifestyle changes and so on and so forth.
Excellent, Jason. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Jason. That was brilliant. Really good advice. And most people should be able to get hold of ginger wherever you live. Even if it's not growing naturally, it's not for me, you can get it from the supermarkets or the market or wherever. Get a good piece of ginger, keep it. And I like the idea that you can freeze it because you can use it for, anytime. So that's brilliant. Okay, so we do have a couple of hands, and we've got Segan and Louise. So I will take Segan's hand, and I'm not sure if there's any, Jonathan, if you can look in the chat, if there's any questions that have come up in the chat, because some people might be a bit shy to come on camera, and we also need to look on YouTube as well. So Segan, And then Louise, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this very important webinar. Thank you, Pastor Sam, and to all the speakers that have had comments thus far. It's been very enlightening and very, very helpful. I've lived with asthma all of my life, and much like Pastor Sam, I'd rather have to think of living life without asthma. But quick background: I am originally from Nigeria. I live in the UK now, and there's been a significant difference between my experience with asthma when I was living back in Africa and now here in the UK. But I'm very, very passionate about asthma in children. As I said, I've grown up with it. So far, we've spoken about preventative and potential elimination of asthma, in quotes. But I wonder if there could be a small discourse around the actual management of asthma in times of crisis, especially with children. And one of the reasons why I feel that's important is because I also personally believe that one of the triggers, which is a sub-trigger, I think, is psychological. Because sometimes, say for example, when I was a kid, if I went over to visit at my cousin's house and I left my inhaler at home, psychologically, without having the inhaler with me, it would just trigger an attack. And so some of the things that I learned to do when I crossed over to before I came to the UK, was to have very, very effective breathing practices. And also, in the case for children, having not so many people, like impress upon them psychologically in terms of crowding, and giving them space and reassuring them, and having them practice breathing in certain ways, which I think maybe Pastor can speak to, and some other people. But I found that very, very helpful for myself, knowing those things, and exercise as well. Is something, because when I was a kid, I just couldn't do anything. If I did any strenuous activity, it would trigger an attack. But I had to get over that psychologically by becoming more physically active, and that helped me. And I don't know. I wonder if Pastor Sam and some of the people on board could speak to some of those thoughts.
Sure. So, Sigan, in terms of you personally, have you done any of the routes that we've talked about on this platform today in terms of the detox and the change in diet using the 8 laws of health? I think that would be the first thing to look at in terms of management. Have you tried that at all?
Yes, certainly. I mean, I've been on some of the programs here. I did the lemon, and I've done a couple of other detoxes, trying to eliminate meat from my diet. That's going to be a tough one, but yeah.
Okay. So I think we're talking about the entire package, because it's an inflammatory disease, and if you're eating foods that are just creating or causing inflammation in the body, then you're not going to be victorious. And so we really do need to look at how we're going to manage this thing by going through the detox process, but also walking hand in hand with the lifestyle changes that's going to bring about the difference. I don't think I'm really qualified to speak about children. I don't have the experience in terms of working with children to be able to advise you on that, but maybe somebody like Jason can say a word at this time.
Jason, would you like to come back in on that, or should we move on?
Oh wow, there's still more.
We do have the links to the Telegram groups that I've put in the chat. Jason is on the Men's Wellness Telegram group, and you could go on there and communicate if you can't. Sorry, my camera's wonky. You could go on there and communicate if you're unable to speak with him on here, or perhaps he could post his personal WhatsApp number.
And just to say, Sharon, the topic, there's a lot of interest in this topic, and everything will not be able to cover on a single show. So I would advise all who are joining us for the first time to go ahead and join the groups, because we do share information on there, and we probably could carry on the conversation on there. Because I do notice we also kind of pushing for time as well.
Yeah, we may even have a part 2. Okay.
Sharon?
Yes, Janine.
Yeah, Sharon, it's Joan.
Yeah, sorry, Joan.
Just quickly, it's also important for us to have an air bath in the morning. And an air bath is when you go outside, particularly in the early morning, try to breathe in fresh air. So your lungs will love you for it. It will expand your lungs, but you're getting fresh air. The best quality air is early in the morning or late in the evening. So it's good to breathe fresh air in early in the morning or late in the evening. Best quality air is at those times.
Thank you, Joan. And just if you could remind people in terms of breathing, you know, how to breathe deeply. Is there any advice you'd want to give on how to breathe? Because it's not just, you know, taking a breath.
So it's when you're breathing, it's hard because obviously I'm not, you know, full, but you breathe, when you're breathing in, your stomach should be going in your diaphragm and then out. That's what you do, okay? Nostrils in, out. Did you hear that?
When you breathe in, your stomach should go out.
Out, sorry.
Out, your stomach should go in. That's like the correct way
out
when you're
in. Yes. So in through your nostrils. Yeah.
You fill up like a balloon, your stomach goes out, and then as you breathe out,
yes,
you deflate. Okay,
and
thank you for that.
You will feel slightly lightheaded, but that's fine. That's fine. You're breathing in the fresh air, oxygen. It's important for your lungs as well. Anyway, thanks.
That was one of our challenges that we had last year, and I really enjoyed going for my cycles in the morning, cycling to work on the embankment where there was loads of trees, and just breathing in that great oxygen. Okay, Louise, you did have a comment that you wished to make.
It was just very quickly in regards to
sorry, Louise, can you just speak? I know some people may be adjusting their volumes because quite often when you speak it's quiet. Could you just get a bit closer to your microphone because we're struggling to hear you?
Okay, I hope that's a bit better. I had my nephew, he's now 7. At the time he was 6. He was with us for maybe about 7-8 months. He's an asthma sufferer, and he had one of the things.
Inhalers.
Thank you. And he's had it for many years. And one of the things I realized about him was this breathing he had. And I could walk past the room and I can hear him breathing. Even when he was sleeping, I could hear him. And I was saying to my brother one day, you know, this isn't good. And he was saying no. So we started cutting things out of his diet. This was one of the first things we started doing. And one of the things also that my brother was saying was that he would say to me sometimes, oh, could I get a lift? Because he was staying with us, both of them were staying with us. Could I get a lift down to the school or whatever? And I said, I purposed in my mind that I wasn't giving them a lift in my car in the morning. I mean, that might sound mean, yeah? But what I wanted to do was for my nephew to learn to breathe and to breathe properly while he was outside walking. And exercise and breathing in the fresh air is so good for the lungs that I was worried about him missing out on that part by me being the nice auntie and taking them to school in the morning. And I said, if it's raining, it was snowing, I'm going to take you to school in the car. If it's not, you're going to have to walk. And then when he was coming home, he had to walk up a hill. So of course he had to use his lungs a lot more. And within 2 to 3 weeks, my nephew wasn't using his inhaler at all. He was walking up without panting, up the hill and down the hill without panting. And then when my nephew and we eliminated lots of things out of his diet, dairy. I mean, because he was living in our house, he was like mainly a plant-based diet, unless he went out somewhere and had something to eat. But by the time he left, his eczema had cleared, it had gone. Asthma, his breathing had returned to normal, and he wasn't using his pump at all. And his upping and downing on hills and stuff like that was so much better. Then they moved out 8 months later because they got their own flat. And then within 2 weeks, my brother said his asthma's back. And I was thinking, how is that possible for his asthma to be back? And one of the things was he was living in an environment that had a lot of dust, because the flat had been redone totally. They'd revamped it, and they hadn't put a layer over the concrete, so a lot of the dust was getting up into him, so he was using his pump a lot more. And then I realized, of course, that my brother had gone back to using meat, using dairy, using this, using that, using whatever. And this is why I said earlier on that no matter what we want to believe in here, we have to get a reality check. And the reality is there are certain protocols that affect the way we are. There are certain protocols that affect our health, whether it's negatively or positively. And Jason said a really important thing there. He said that ginger is really good. And these are some of the things he was having here. And I'm thinking back now that he was having here on a regular basis, and it was helping him. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we have to, it sounds a bit hard, what I've said in terms of having a reality check, or maybe checking our diet and maybe doing the holistic thing. Yeah. But we have to get to that point where we take control of our health. We have to take back control of our health. And we have to help the body eliminate the toxins out of the system. And then if there are other like environmental things that are happening in terms of the environment, and we don't really have much control over a lot of that, then we need to maybe look at that as well. But I'm just saying that, you know, I've experienced it myself, where we've gone from asthma for 4 or 5 years to no asthma, and then we're back to asthma again. And it's all based on lifestyle choices. It was based on lifestyle choices, and eliminating them, then bringing them back. And then of course, we may have to be eliminating them again. So I'm just saying those things you need to take into consideration. Definitely the ginger, it really, really can help a lot. And just basically do a lot of elimination in small steps. And then you may have to add something back into the diet to see if that's affecting him or affecting her, and see if when you take it out again, if that helps or don't help. And so those are just some of the things that I just want to throw into the audience.
Thank you, Louise, for that extra information. I think we've covered most things that are in the chat. Yeah, so we do have the groups that have been posted in there. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in.
Okay.
As we said, that there may be a part 2 for this, because there's been a lot of interest. And actually, before we go, Segun, could you also send me a link to your, send me your number? I feel impressed to send you a gift as well. Privately though, it doesn't have to be on the chat to everybody. And then I can get your details and put a gift in the post for you. Thank you.
Sharon, it would be very interested to find out what gift you send in Segan. So I know everybody can't get it, but it would be really nice to know what you send in Segan.
Well, I'm thinking of sending everybody the same. Well, not everybody. The 3 names that I've mentioned. I've got a doTERRA oil here, and it's wild orange. Now, if you're not sure what wild orange is good for, I'm not going to do all the work for you. Look it up. Okay. I could tell you, but I'm not going to. Okay, that's how I'm learning that from Alvin when we do the Bible studies and people ask questions. Sometimes he gives them the answers. Sometimes he says, "There's your homework." So I'm taking a leaf out of Alvin McQueen's book. Okay, some homework. You can do some looking up of what the benefits of wild orange oil is, essential oil.
Well, how do you use it?
There's different ways. You can use it as an inhaler. Well, not as an inhaler. We're talking about inhalers. You can inhale put it in a diffuser. That's the word I'm looking for. And inhale. I don't know if you can see this. Oh, I've got one here right now. Can you see the steam?
Yep.
Okay, that one's got air in it. So you can use it for that. You can use it topically in massage. And there's some of the oils. I'm not sure. I think you can take this one internally as well. I'll have to look on the tab and it will say whether or not you can use it internally. So you can have it with water. Some of them, the ones, only some of these you can ingest, not all brands. You can use in a little drop or even a tiny little bit on a cocktail stick, swirl it in water, and you can have some internally. But some people like to just massage it on the neck, on the bottoms of the feet, because it can cross the it can get in the cells basically, and you can detect if you put it on your on the soles of your feet. After a few minutes, you can actually taste it in your mouth. That's a bit like garlic. It does that. It's really powerful stuff.
Someone in the chat is saying it can uplift the mood and energy level.
You can't tell them the answers to the question. Well, they've got to do their homework.
It's in the chat.
Okay, I'll let you off. Right then, so do we that's all right, Carol, no worries. Or Carol.
That was me.
Yeah, I know. So I don't think there's any more hands, is there? Jonathan?
No, not that I can see, Sharon.
Okay, so it's at this point we're going to thank everybody from zooming in with us from all over the globe. Shortly, when we say goodbye to our YouTube family, those who have joined us, you can unmute. Oh, there's a hand, Marie. You just got in there.
Just before we take Marie, Sharon, I'd just like to say if anybody wants to join the group, they must download the Telegram app. It's not as simple as clicking on the link and you'll be able to join. You have to download the app and then you'll be able to use the link to join.
Thank you for that clarification, Jonathan. Yes, I forgot to say that. So yes, it's another one of those group apps. But we found that we can fit more people on rather than having to have more and more and more groups like we did on WhatsApp. We can just fit more people on the one group if you're men or if you're woman. You know what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I've said enough. Okay, there is 2 hands, but these are definitely going to be the last 2 hands because we don't want to go over time. We've already gone over 5 o'clock and our presenters might have somewhere to go. Okay, so Marie, if you wish to unmute and ask your question.
It won't be a question, Sharon. It will be more like a comment.
Okay. Marie!
It's me.
It's you.
Yeah, one of the things that we haven't really touched on is to do with our bowel. And perhaps that might be part 2 in asthma, because one of the things I've learned, having had asthma as an adult, not as a child, that mine was an allergy and mine was allergy to grass. But then when I started researching a lot more, I realized that oftentimes our bowel need to be emptied more. So when I said to friends in polite circumstances that you should be going like about 3 times a day, they look at me as if I'm crazy. And I says, if you're eating 3 meals, you should be going 3 times. So your bowl need to be emptied. So with all the soy products that you have, I don't necessarily use soy product. If I can use it, I very rarely try to use it that often, because that's one of the things that also people are allergic to, which can compound your asthma. I think it's best to sometimes invest the time and cook food from scratch. But going back to the bowel, most ailments eliminate in the gut. And I remember reading Jethro's class book, Back to Eden, where he says asthma, if you can clean the gut, you can clean your asthma out. So that's what we said. So lots of people are in the chat, so they're doing this and they're doing that. Look at your gut and look at also your weight, because oftentimes your weight can be a factor. if you're fluctuating back and forth and you're not seeing any good signs, look at your weight, look at what you're eating, look at what you're combining, because all of those things are very important. But the important thing is that your gut must be emptied every day. As you wake in the morning, when I wake in the morning, my body's even telling me I need to get to the toilet before I can even say a prayer. I can be very honest and say that. It's waking me up. So it must be waking you up to empty so that you can start the day feeling empty and ready to face the challenges on a spiritual, but also on a physical level. Thank you very much. Lovely program. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Marie. Thank you so much. And yes, gut health is extremely important. And a few weeks ago, we did a presentation called Let It Go. It was on the topic of constipation, as Lucille has reminded us. So if you go back on YouTube and you type in True Temperance International, you can look back and see the one called Let It Go. Yeah, that's what it was called. And that covers the issue of constipation and the regularity and the transit time. That was one of our challenges, to see how long it takes for you to, from ingestion to eradication, for want of a better phrase. But yes, thank you for that. And Rosalie, you are our last hand. Okay, I've just read a comment in the chat, but yeah. Rosalie, go ahead. Unmute. And whilst Rosalie's unmuting, it was lovely to see you, Marie. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It was lovely seeing you too.
Hello? They can't hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Oh, sorry. Is this going to be on YouTube? Because I missed half of it. Can I watch it on YouTube?
Absolutely. It's on YouTube now. I'm not sure if one of the admin can put the link, the actual, because you can go into YouTube and type in True Temperance International, but we could also post the link on the chat. Okay, so
okay.
Have a look, and hopefully, Charlene, if you're available, or Jonathan, if you can put
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
I've got a question for Pastor. Yeah, can you hear me? Or I have a question for Pastor Sam. I was saying, if he's where he is so beautiful. Is there any spare land that I could get near there that he's selling? We can speak in private. I've got your number.
Well, just get in touch with me, Carol. Send me the guys here on the platform have my details anyway.
I've got your number. I will do. Thank you, Pastor. It's lovely.
Thank you. Okay.
Sharon, I'm happy to give away one of my bottles of lung tonic as well as a free gift.
Right. And now how do we decide who gets it, Joan?
I'm not sure. I leave it to yourselves to decide, but I'm more than happy to give away one of the elderberry lung tonics.
You know what? I think I know who's going to have that. Yeah, that's great. Edgar's telling me, one of the YouTube listeners. I was thinking more Segan, but okay. Edgar's telling me the first person on YouTube to do what, Edgar? To say who they are. You don't have to whisper. Okay, Edgar's saying the first person on YouTube to type in their link and say who you are and that you like the program. These are Edgar's conditions. You will get a gift. And Segun, I still need your details. I think you may have sent it to me. I'm not sure. Hopefully you're still on here.
Sorry, is that tonic really good for people with asthma? Does it help? How does it help?
Okay, Joan.
What I found, yeah, what I found, I'm not.
Oh, sorry.
Is this would you like to take, excuse me, would you like to take Joan contact so you'll be able to contact her regarding the tonic?
Yeah,
I wanted to hear what Joan was going to say, please.
Would prefer it if you take her number so you'd be able to contact her regarding this product.
Yeah, I'm happy to put my number in the chat.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, and we do have somebody that has already put their name in the YouTube. So, oh man, there's too many now. Okay, the first person was somebody by the name of Jager PD. Okay, Jager PD. Right. So yeah, you will have a gift as well. Right. So that's all the giveaways. There's no more. There's no more. Okay. That's all the giveaways for this week. Right. So
not looking for the giveaway, but I really want to get that information. So if you could just put your look in the chat, I don't see your number. Could you do it before you go off?
I've just done that, Suzette.
Is that okay, Suzette?
I'm checking again.
Okay. Right. It's
the
yes.
Number. All right, I do that. The message. Thanks.
Louise.
Sharon, so that there's no fighting.
Pardon? What did you say? You're very quiet.
Sorry, I said so that there's no fighting. I've used Jones Tonic myself and with my grandchildren, and it's absolutely one. But so there's no fighting, I'm willing to give away one of my own formulas of the lung and throat respiratory tract spray. So I can send that off to you, and then you can see fit where to send it to, so that there's no fighting.
Great, thanks, Louise.
Okay, Joe.
Okay, thank you. And if those that you are on YouTube, if we do not have your details, you will need to, I'm not sure how you're going to privately put your phone number on there, but we need a way of getting in touch with you. Okay, so those of you who are on YouTube, if you're from international, we do have a gift that's specifically for our international audience. Okay, I'm not going to tell you what it is though. That's, you know, you'll find out if you.
Oh, Sharon, I think it would be a good idea if for those people on YouTube, if we do give them our email address so they can send their detail there, as opposed to putting it on YouTube.
Okay, good idea, good idea. Okay, so I'm not sure whose email address we're going to use, but we'll use one. Edgar, you can post an email address on there, can't you? Yeah. Yeah, Edgar's going to sort that out. Okay, so thank you once again, everybody, for joining us. It's been a lively 2 hours and 15 minutes. We look forward to seeing you again next week even. Joan, who was one of the people that gave us a testimony of her experience in living without asthma, or is still, anyway, living with and overcoming the burdens of asthma, will be presenting next week on the science behind insomnia. So again, same link, same time, 3 o'clock UK time, and we will see you again. Remember the challenge for this week, it is get a detox, and the previous challenges, you can still have them as well. Jonathan,
Sharon, just for the benefit, because I know at this time we would be saying goodbye to those on YouTube, but we want them to be able to get the email address. So for those on YouTube, I will hang on a little bit more.
The email address has been posted, and we'll leave it on for 1 more minute, and then we can say goodbye. So I'm not going to say much for now, believe it or not.
Next week, I will give you another gift for the YouTube.
And Edgar's saying next week there will be another gift for a YouTuber who comes on and watches with us. So thank you so much, everybody. We're so glad that you joined us. And sorry? Yeah, Edgar says we want to be inclusive, so that's definite. So we will be able to unmute and say where we're joining from very shortly once YouTube.
We will put the we'll shortly put the email address on the chat, so for the benefit of everybody. Sharon.
It's on YouTube. Okay.
On the chat.
On the chat.
We've posted our email address.
Okay, we'll just send out the True Temperance one in the chat as well.
Okay, everyone, thank you very much. God bless you.
Pastor Sam, sorry, we got so excited about the giveaways, we didn't even say goodbye to you. So thank you so much.
And thank you, Pastor Sam, for the presentation.
Okay,
and for sharing some of your Unachenta sunshine with us as well, over there in Almira.
Can I just say one thing, Sharon?
Yes,
we managed to buy 5 liters of Pastor Davis's olive oil, and you could actually drink it. It is so organic and it tastes delicious. So if anybody is interested in Pastor's olive oil from Unachente Farm from Spain, I highly recommend it, because I've recommended it to friends and they've ended up purchasing some too.
If you have that slide available, Sam, I'm not sure if you're near that device that you were sharing from. If you do have it, you're more than welcome to put that slide up again so that people can see the details. Because I know some people joined late. Someone's saying, what's Pastor Sam's details? Yes, Segan, you've seen that. So that slide, are you able to put it up again, Sam?
Yes, I can do.
Okay, well, wonderful. Here we go.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so get a screenshot, everybody. Well, those who are interested, let's get a screenshot. In fact, that's a lovely poster. I'm going to screenshot it too.
Okay, thank you.
Once these messages stop coming on my screen. There we go. Great. Okay, Jonathan, I think we can say goodbye to YouTube now. Oh, so he said, hold on. He said, hold on. I'm not sure what he's doing. Okay. All right. So we shall look forward to hearing how you get on with the challenge next week. You can give us some feedback. And there was somebody else that I wanted us to give us feedback as well. But anyway, if you do take the challenge, or if you do take some of the advice with the ginger or whatever advice has been given, feel free to come and join us again next week, or mention ideally join us next week, because the women won't hear what's going on in the men's Telegram group and the men won't hear what's going on in the women's Telegram group. But whatever, we'd love to hear from you, and don't be shy, we won't bite. So thank you once again, those on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Bye. We can stop the recording now.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.